Hi Nunavik, I'm Brian Glow. I'm a magician and an illusionist. I travel all over the world, and I just want to thank you guys for coming out and coming to, while I was in all 14 communities of Nunavik and coming to all the public shows and the anti-bullying and suicide awareness shows we did in the schools. And if it wasn't for influencers, motivating influencers, and Motive 8, both produced by Dave DeVos, our producer for the tour, we could not have made it all the way through. Hi everybody, I'm Brian Glow, and I get to travel all over the world, and especially in my home country of Canada. And I love going to the Arctic, specifically Nunavik. And Nunavik is the 14 communities, the Inuit communities of northern Quebec. And I got a chance to go to every single one of them doing anti-bullying and anti-suicide shows. Now, it gets cold in the winter. I mean, really cold, colder than almost anywhere else in the world. And one thing you got to know about the cold is that when you're there and you're, say, having a beverage outside, you can't wait too long, because 0 degrees centigrade or 32 degrees Fahrenheit means it's freezing. And I do mean freezing. Now that's an icy cold beverage for an icy climate. Well, I love this little illusion. It's really wonderful. And the fact that I do go throughout Nunavik and the rest of the Arctic is a wonderful chance to present this. Now, where I live in Winnipeg, it gets cold. I mean, we get to 40 below 0 Celsius, which is about the same as Fahrenheit. And so it's brilliantly cold. But in the Arctic, temperatures can get to the -50s or even colder. It's incredible. And as you go closer to the North Pole where I've been, you don't even want to think about how cold it is. No one ever wants to be caught there unless you have incredibly great polar gear. Now I'm going to show you this because it is fun. It's a little bit of science, it's a little bit of magic, but the secret is really easy. Now the first thing you got to do is you get a cup. It can be any kind of cup, plastic cup, but something that's opaque that you can't see through. And then what I do is I get some sponge. Now I get some really soft sponge that can hold a lot of liquid. The big fat ones with big holes in it don't hold very much water, so use a lot and fill it up. I like to get about halfway through the cup. And then all you have to do is get some ice from the freezer and pour it in on top. Now the rest is just a bit of stage management, which means that you have to hold the cup so that they don't see inside that they've got ice. You want to have it so you're holding it a little bit towards yourself, and that way they can't see inside. Now what I do is I get a Sharpie and I write 0 degrees or 32 degrees Fahrenheit, or even both, because I do it all internationally. And this is the science for the point of where water freezes, 0 degrees Celsius or 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Something that's a really interesting little fact, but I turn it around so you don't see that. Now, I'm all ready. I have another cup, and it's kind of off to the side, just kind of innocuous. I've got my water. Now you don't use a lot of water, and you don't have to. And you pick up the cup, just innocuous, and you start talking about water and how, you know, I really like water when it's really cold. And you don't put too much in. You just put enough that the sponge will absorb the water. Now, this takes a bit of trial and error. You got to experiment. You got to know about how much. And it doesn't take very long to sink in and soak up that water. In the meantime, I'm talking so that it gets a chance to absorb, and I turn it around, and this gives me that little extra time, and I talk about 0 degrees. And then comes the funny part where I take another cup and I say, yeah, the water is so cold, it's just like ice, and I pour out the ice into the cup, being careful not to show the sponge because that would give it away. But when all the ice comes out, they will be totally shocked. And you have a miracle. Hi everybody, you know, all magicians, before we do a show, we do all kinds of exercises to limber up our fingers to make sure that we're at peak magical performance. And I'm going to show you a few of them. These are just individual finger exercises where you just open and close your fingers like that. And this is probably the most important exercise we do, and this, you should learn this. You stick your hands out and you wiggle them out like you're making a magic. Yeah, like that, okay? Now, you're gonna turn your thumbs down and you're going to clasp your hands and don't let go, but keep your thumbs down, like really down like that, okay? Now hold it tight and twist your hands up. And now you're ready to start the show. What do you mean you're having a hard time? Well, you just practice that. So when I was a kid, I was bullied really excessively from grade 5 to grade 12. And I don't just mean yelled and screamed at and called names, but I was pushed around, I was being thrown downstairs and choked, and once I was stabbed. It was a really horrible time in my life. And I was so embarrassed and so afraid, and I didn't even tell my parents, and I should have even gone to the police about it. But I would go home and I would practice my magic and it would make me feel really good. And I thought, oh boy, wouldn't it be great if I could take those bullies and bend them like in a pretzel, just because I'd have super strength. And all of a sudden I noticed that just because I was thinking about it, it got softer and softer and softer and softer. And then when I let go, it went back again to normal. Now that was just an optical illusion. But if I was really a magician, I would do something like this. I would take the coin and, using my mental abilities, just think about bending them like a pretzel. I mean, you go through these things when you're angry. You do things and you say things that you really shouldn't, because you never know what might happen. In my case, I was so angry that the coin actually bent. Sometimes you don't know your own strength. Well, I'm going to show you how to do these little bits of magic. This is a little bit of fun. Now, there are two coins. There is a bent coin and a regular coin. Now, the first one we're going to show you is the bent coin trick, which is the optical illusion, and then the bent coin trick, which is the magic illusion. I always have the coin in my hand. This coin I'm going to hold by my fingertips and use my other fingertips to hold it. And really, I'm just moving my wrists. But if you move them consistently, it looks like it's getting softer and softer and softer until you can actually really jiggle it. But you're really just moving your fingers. The coin isn't doing anything. It's your wrists that are going up and down, but it gives you the illusion that the coin is getting softer and softer, and then you show that nothing has happened. Then you're going to pick up the coin, and I just put my thumb on it, and I pretend to toss it into my hand. And this is now the bent coin, but I just flash it and it just looks like a regular coin because it's kind of bent around my finger. And I hold it and I talk about how I got so mad that my mental forces, and I turn it over with my thumb so you can really see the bend in it. That my mental forces have caused my anger to flow into the coin. And this is really based on something that happened to me. This is something that when I was a kid, when I would go home and I would practice my magic, it was like I needed not only to calm myself down, but I'd think of ways of getting even. And this was a terrible thing because getting even is only going to get you in trouble. Doing something bad to someone else is just as bad as the bully doing it to you. We want to treat other people the way we want to get treated. So why would you do something bad to them? Now, when I was in school, I was on the track team. And I loved running. And I was a sprinter, which meant I was by myself. I was always quite a loner. I didn't have a ton of friends. The ones I did were really good friends. But one of the things that happened is that I would be running around after school, practicing. One day after school, and this was in high school, I hear a scream. And I want to help someone. I know how bad it was to get bullied and no one would come and help me. So I went running down as fast as I could to the school gym. I was in the hallway at the time. And there I heard another scream and I ran even faster and I opened up the doors and there was a man. And he was in a white uniform and he was practicing karate. And he was yelling these, ha, ha! And it was incredible. I saw this guy doing these incredible moves. And I thought, oh, this was like the answer to my prayers. I could learn this and defend myself. Well, I went up to the man and he was one of my teachers. And he was a black belt in karate and he was practicing. And I said, could you teach me how to do it? And he said, well, I would love to teach you. I have many students. Why don't you come to my dojo? That's a training gym. And you can start learning lessons. So the next day I took a bus and I went to the training gym and I met them with all kinds of young other kids who were students. And I was standing there and I was going, oh man, I'm going to use this to be able to defeat the bullies and stuff. And on the very first day they popped my bubble because they said, karate and any kind of fighting skills is not being used to hurt someone, but not only just to defend yourself, but to avoid fights. I said, what do you mean avoid fights? This is something that you could use to, like see it in the movies. And they said, oh, that's really, really wrong and just for movies. The reality is you're gonna learn and train and become so good that you will never have to be in a fight because you'll have such confidence in yourself that you won't ever feel like you need to fight because the bullies and other people will see that confidence and avoid you. And it's exactly what happened. For 27 years of practicing martial arts and many black belts and traveling all over to some of the scariest parts of the world, I've never once been in a fight. I've never once had to even use my martial arts skills. Now I still practice, but I had that confidence. And because I had that confidence and communication skills and could look at someone and they would know that, this guy's pretty sure of himself. Maybe I won't be picking on him. The first thing bullies go for are weaknesses because they want power. They want to attack you so they'll feel good. They want you to yell and scream and be afraid because they love that. They get bigger and bolder from that. And if you don't give them that pleasure, if you don't give them that feedback, they go somewhere else because they know they can't get what they need from being a bully, which is that reassurance that they're better than someone else. Because we don't know, some bullies are really bullied themselves. It might be through family members or their own siblings. It might be from other bigger kids hurting them, and they want to get their power back by lashing out at others. So you can't judge. But we can learn some psychological tools, and one of the most important psychological tools is to not give away our power. And that means letting words roll off our backs. Don't let them affect you. Don't let someone say things to you that get you upset. Now that's hard, and it's like practicing martial arts. You have to do it over and over and over again. And like any magic trick, you rehearse 100 times so it's perfect. Now the best way to rehearse something is with a trusted friend or a parent or someone a teacher you might like, and you practice things like if they say something bad to you, like you're an idiot, you don't yell back, you're an idiot. No. Best thing to do would be something simple like, oh yeah, sometimes I do idiotic things. I wish I was as good as you. What do you say to that? That's crazy. And maybe they'll say, yo, you're stupid and dumb and you got red hair. And you go, yeah, sometimes I do stupid things. And yeah, I was born with red hair. You should see my whole family. They got red hair. I wish I had like really nice black hair like you do, but I've got red hair and I live with it and I love it. What do you say to that? They can't. They can say all kinds of bad things, and every time they take a bad thing to you, you turn it around and make it a positive thing. I will tell you that these little things can change your life. They did for me, and they can for you. Hey Nunavik, thank you so much. Can't wait to come back after COVID-19 to your communities. I want to get back to every one of the 14 communities that I was in 2019. I had such a great time, and it was all because of influencers motivating influencers and Motivate that I was allowed to be able to come to all these wonderful places and meet all of you. I had such a good time. And I got a chance to see you in school, and I got to see you at the concerts we did. Well, if you think those were great, wait till the next tour. It will be amazing.